Hello and welcome to Prospero's Introduction to Safeguarding Young People course. There will be 3 videos in this course, each followed by questions. It is important that you watch and listen to each video in full, as questions will refer to both the written and audio content of this course. Please ensure that you have your volume on, or alternatively use the closed captioning options which is available by clicking in the corner of this video. Feel free to pause or replay this video as many times as you need. This course has been written in line with official guidance. Throughout the course you'll be able to see which documentation has been used and you can go here for further reading. The aims of this course are to understand the importance of serious case reviews, to state the roles and responsibilities of teachers in safeguarding young people, to know and recognise the different types of abuse, and to explain how our conduct can affect the well-being of young people. Here you can see the structure of the course and how it's split into 3 sections. Each section will be followed by its own questions. Section 1. Important documents and responsibilities. Safeguarding children is defined as protecting children from maltreatment, preventing the impairment of children's health or development, ensuring that children grow up in circumstances consistent with the provision of safe and effective care, and taking action to enable all children to have the best outcomes. Importantly, safeguarding is not just about preventing abuse, but also how our everyday conduct can help keep children safe, happy and healthy within our school environments. We're now going to look at some examples of serious case reviews. A serious case review is carried out following the death or serious injury of a child due to abuse or neglect. Serious case reviews establish whether there are lessons to be learned about how we safeguard children. The first example of a serious case review that we're going to look at is that of Victoria Climbié. Originally from the Ivory Coast, Victoria moved with her aunt first to France and then to London. During their time in France, child protection concerns were raised about Victoria, however these weren't investigated following their move to London. Victoria was being abused by her aunt and later her aunt's boyfriend when he moved in with them. Sadly, at age 8, on the 25th of February 2000, Victoria died as a result of multiple organ failure and acute hypothermia. In the last year and a half of her life, Victoria was subjected to brutal, systematic, emotional and physical abuse and neglect at the hands of her aunt and her aunt's boyfriend. When she arrived in hospital on the eve of her death, she had 128 separate injuries to her body. At least 69 adults and professionals came into contact with Victoria over a period of 16 months, including 3 different housing authorities, 4 social services departments, 2 metropolitan child protection teams, 2 different churches, the NSPCC, which is a children's charity, teachers and childminders. She was still not safeguarded from the abuse that led to her death. It was concluded that there had been multiple failings in protocol and communication on the part of those individuals in Victoria's case up until the night of her death. Following the Victoria Climbié tragedy, Lord Laming wrote the Victoria Climbié Inquiry, which was followed by the Every Child Matters agenda released in 2003. Unfortunately, even after this new legislation, serious cases of abuse still do take place. Another example is the case of Daniel Pelka. Daniel's family moved to the UK from their native Poland in 2005. Whilst Daniel's family were living in the UK, police responded to a total of 27 separate reported domestic abuse incidents, many involving violence fueled by alcohol. Daniel was known to be withdrawn in school, showing little interaction with other children. His English language skills were not good, and this was a large barrier for him in school and for his social development. In 2011, the school became concerned that Daniel was taking food from other children's lunchboxes and eating it secretively. The school responded by locking food away, as they had been told by Daniel's mother that the reason he was so hungry was due to a medical condition. Daniel was severely underweight for his age. In 2012, Daniel was admitted to hospital after suffering a cardiac arrest. He was 4 years and 8 months old, and at the time of his death he weighed only 10.7 kilograms. When a serious case review was undertaken in 2013 following Daniel's death, it was found that the teachers at his school had not made accurate records of abuse, that they had not reported concerns sufficiently, and that there was no in-depth risk assessment for Daniel. The writer of the report into Daniel's death urges teachers and professionals in the future to think the unthinkable, because as professionals we need to make sure that we do assume the worst so that people like Daniel who are at risk are taken care of and adequately safeguarded. We will now look at some important documents to do with safeguarding young people. The document titled Every Child Matters was published in 2003, due in part to the Victoria Climbié tragedy. Its 5 main aims were for children of every background to have the opportunities to stay safe, be healthy, enjoy and achieve, make a positive contribution and achieve economic well-being. Again, it's about much more than just recognising signs of abuse and neglect. Working Together to Safeguard Children is a document that gives schools and other institutions guidance as to their responsibilities in safeguarding children. You should have a look at this document for further reading. Keeping Children Safe in Education is a 5-part document setting out how schools and other educational organisations should safeguard children in their care. Part 1 of this document is essential reading for all staff working with children, and you should make sure that you have read this before undertaking any work with children. All staff need to be aware of the following: the child protection policy within schools or other institutions, the behavioural policy, the staff behaviour policy, sometimes called a code of conduct, how to respond if a child goes missing from education, and the role of the designated safeguarding lead, including who they are and who any deputies are within the organisation. Please be aware that the guidance in keeping children safe in education is updated regularly, so you will need to keep up to date with any changes. Other important information sources include the government page on safeguarding children. The Home Office has an e-learning course covering the basics of PREVENT, and the NSPCC website also has lots of useful information about safeguarding children. Organisations that work with children need to have the following: a designated safeguarding lead, mandatory safeguarding training, safer recruitment training required for anyone that's employing teachers. Anyone within the school working directly with young people must declare any convictions they have. Some convictions prohibit offenders from applying to work with young people. There needs to be a clear definition of child abuse provided to all adults who work with children, and a system for recording incidents and concerns. All staff in school have a responsibility to behave professionally and responsibly at all times, maintaining clear boundaries as adults in a position of care, provide a safe environment for children to learn in, be aware of school safeguarding systems, be aware of indicators of abuse and neglect, maintain an attitude of it could happen, respond appropriately if a child makes a disclosure to them, which we will cover later, and always act in the best interests of the child. Follow the referral process set out in your organisation's safeguarding policy and within government guidance if you are concerned about a child's welfare. You have now reached the end of this section. Please click the box below to confirm that you have watched and listened to the video content and then answer the questions. Feel free to watch this video as many times as you need.